This action item and activity is one of the most exciting. We are finally going to start brainstorming some potential ideas for our project. Now, later on, Jeff and I will be teaching you how to evaluate these ideas. So for now, don't focus on judging them, just focus on producing and brainstorming as many ideas as possible. This is one of our favorite and most fun parts of the project because you can go completely wacky with your imagination. In fact, the wackier the idea, the less likely someone has seen it before, which actually makes it more unique and better. For instance, breaking a world record for mashed potatoes. On paper, it might seem silly. But combine it with I+ principles, and suddenly it becomes a resume and application defining component. Step 1, gather ingredients. I said we would go back to some of the activities earlier, which is why it's so important to do them. So please open up the list of activities from P2-A2 as well as the list of activities from P2-A2, because we're gonna see how we can potentially combine some of these ideas into a very exciting and original double-edged 20% project. To show you what I mean, here's an example. As you can see, some of these are closely related because I am typically interested in the things that I'm involved in, but some are not. Step 2, generate. Interestingly enough, there are actually two approaches when it comes to step 2. The first approach, 2A, is just to pick one activity from either list and drill down. This is what Jeff did for his pop-up restaurant project and also what I did for We All Bleed Red. There is no shame at all in just focusing on one activity and hunkering down on it. The advantage here is that you really become an expert in that one thing. So if I were pulling from the example list above, I might focus on breakdancing and decide to host a competition at my local high school or university. In fact, I did exactly that at Yale and hosted something called the Yale Hip Hop Block Party every year for 3 years in a row. Really great event with the goal of connecting Yale students to people in the community passionate about breaking and hip hop dance. There is, however, a second approach which may or may not be better for you, depending on your situation, and that is, you guessed it, the double-edged approach. This would involve taking one idea from each column of the table and then fusing those bad boys together. One example might be writing a manga or light novel, then reading it at the local kindergarten center where I volunteer. Another example might be to pair portrait photography with Italian cooking. Maybe I decide to go on a little adventure and interview Italian restaurants in my local area, then take portraits of their chefs and maybe even create 30-second Instagram video ads for them. Doesn't that sound exciting, guys? The ideas, they're truly endless. Last but not least, we have step number 3, scale it back. We need to make sure that this is a project we could realistically execute over the course of a weekend. Start small, start fast. Speed over quality, execution over idea. I'll reuse the 3 examples from earlier and explain precisely how I would compact them, minimize them, so that I can personally guarantee they happen. First, the Yale Hip Hop Block Party. Rather than hosting a big event, which could take months to plan, I will invite a local dancer to host a workshop or join a practice with us. Then we'll switch and have the Yale dance team teach some of the local dancers a workshop the following weekend. For the second idea, the light novel / manga for kindergartners, rather than writing an entire novel, I will write just 1 chapter, or maybe even just 3 pages. Then I will read the story to the children, and then I can ask them how they think it will end, ideas, suggestions, feedback, and I could even incorporate what they say into the story. The third idea was the portraits of Italian cooks from restaurants in my area. So rather than interviewing several Italian chefs and filming an Instagram ad, I will start with just 1 restaurant and 1 cook. My focus will just be on taking 10 high-quality portrait shots during a 2-hour shoot. I highly recommend you use this rather than I will format. Very helpful. Your job today is to generate 3 to 5 ideas. And most importantly, make sure you are really, genuinely jazzed about each of them. Good luck.